Hello everyone and welcome. Twilight Princess had one of the strangest development cycles. Beginning as Wind Waker 2, it briefly became a third Hero of Time game, and finally, it started to shift into the Twilight Princess we now know. Through these multiple stages of development, we have a lot of interesting concept art, unused characters, bosses, dungeons, weapons, locations, and more. We have a lot of videos like this covering unused content and beta content from every Zelda game, with multiple videos on Breath of the Wild, Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, and others. In this video, we're going to be covering mostly new details that we haven't listed in previous Twilight Princess videos. One of the things carried over from Wind Waker 2 was the idea of having Link age as the game progresses. At least it lasted long enough for a second round of concept art, the first set for Wind Waker 2 being Toon Link, showing him aging from child to adult. And finally, when Twilight Princess as we know it was in active development, Nintendo made a second round showing off the more realistic version of Link at different ages. Starting with some of my favorite designs of young Link, all the way up to an adult Link that looks 30 or older. We also have a Twilight Princess style concept of Toon Link. Which of these designs is your favorite, and which would you like to have also seen in the game? I would love to know how far this idea made it into development. Personally, I hope to see Child and Adult Link return to the same game sometime. 2. Twilight Town and Villages. In Hyrule Historia, Nintendo released some concept art of a Twilight Town. Interviews on the game mentioned the last year or so of development was being rushed. They had plans that were thrown out, had new ideas added in, swapping the placement of locations on the map. The intro for the game was completely changed numerous times. One part of the game that fans feel was most impacted by this is with the Twilight Realm. Compared to other dungeons, the palace seems really straightforward and simple, as if they were rushed to finish it. It may go even further than this though, as we have concept art with details of a full Twilight Town. It reads, "A citizen of the Twilight Realm swipes food and other goods from an unpopulated village." And if we zoom in on the image, we see the buildings have a very unique look, and is even different than the palace. A Twilight Princess 2 was planned, but Nintendo thought it would take too long to develop. So they decided to create a quick spin-off, Link's Crossbow Training, while a new game would be in development. Even the first piece of concept art for Skyward Sword looked more like Twilight Princess. A lot of fans have stated that they want Midna to return, and to learn more about the Twilight Realm. Perhaps this was also Nintendo's original intent as well with Twilight Princess 2. 3. Midna. Midna's true form has two alternative versions here. One that looks like a taller version of her Empa form, and the other wearing more clothes with a slightly different design. Her Imp form has more than almost any other character, most looking like they are from a Tim Burton-inspired movie. But the important thing to point out is that they all have their own unique masks. And it's even stated the masks seem to be important to her culture. One design in the top right looks a lot closer to a normal Gerudo, which do not appear, aside from Ganondorf, in Twilight Princess. Before Midna was created, Nintendo actually used the Wind Waker model of Tetra to ride around on Wolflink, which could be why her final designs are all so tiny. But out of all of these, which would be your favorite? 4. 𝐓𝐿𝐿. One of the bad things about video games that have no voice acting, when Nintendo creates words like this, it's really hard to pronounce, so forgive me if I get it wrong. Leading up to the release of Twilight Princess HD, Nintendo revealed the original concept art for the 𝐓𝐿𝐿, and they make a lot more sense than the nightmare birds that we know. They look like a mix between a human race and the Rito, but a lot more hairy. This version looks like they could have actually used the items such as the Dominion Rod, or written books like the ancient Sky Book, which we are told came from this ancient race. I would love to see this race return one day. Did they evolve from the Hylians, the Rito, the Loftwings? What do you guys think? 5. Ilia and Fairies. While Kokiri Forest or Korok Forest and the fairies seem to be missing from Twilight Princess, we do have a strong theory suggesting the Ordon province contains what used to be that land. Houses built into trees, a giant tree with a dungeon inside, which also uses the Deku symbol. The fairies though, what happened to them? This artwork for Ilia had a fairy design on Ilia's forehead. Was this supposed to represent a connection to the Kokiri or fairies? This is one that I would love to hear your thoughts on. 6. Old Man Empa. This would have been the first male version of Empa. He would have likely played the same role as the normal Emp has, It also seems like something could have happened that could have made use of his angry face. A funny trait would be that he is always playing with the ball on his hat. It makes me wonder if the kittens we find would also play with it. This version, with bombs hanging off, that make him seem more like he would have been helpful on a quest or puzzle of some kind. One that looks more like a Goron, but blind, maybe a nod to the Sheikah eye symbol, seeing the truth. 7. Ganondorf. In the final game, he is incredibly muscular, but we have some slimmed versions, and even one that looks like a Gerudo ninja. The top left design has an aggressive look to him, and the Twilight power on his arm reminds me of what Nintendo is doing now, with Link's arm being consumed by Malice or the glowing spirit. Only it is using power from the Twilight instead. We also have one of my favorite looks, where he looks even more muscular and powerful. I wonder what a fight with this Ganondorf would have been like. The beast forms of Ganon all look similar, but with different designs. This one being my favorite and having a more Twilight-inspired design. 8. Wolflink. Wolflink only has a couple of different variations, one with colors matching the Twilight monsters, and another with a black and white theme that was more of a Twilight design on him. Aonuma has stated he originally wanted the game to begin with you playing as Wolflink, wanting it to make the player as confused as Link would have been waking up as a wolf and not knowing what's going on. But in the end, the development team overall decided it may turn off some players who just want to hurry up and play as the traditional Hylian Link. 9. Sages. The sages in Twilight Princess look different than any other game, closer to a ghost or spirit than the original physical form. One design does have similarities to Ocarina of Time though. The orange robes and body shape match closely with Rauru from Ocarina of Time, the Sage of Light. Bonus. This is a fun little bonus. Perlo, who runs the Star minigame in Castle Town, was designed to be a more realistic version of Tingle, wearing a similar outfit, watch, hat, and more. Are you a fan of his more realistic design here, or the way he has looked in Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and his own line of spin-off games? 10. Sheik. One that is likely a carryover from the phase of development between Wind Waker 2 and Twilight Princess. When it was being created as another direct sequel to Ocarina of Time, we have designs for Sheik, which gives the impression she would have been a much more important character than Zelda was in the final game. I would have loved to see her as a companion character in a dungeon, or against a boss, similar to Makar in Wind Waker or even the monkeys in Twilight Princess, providing assistance with bombs, or just being useful in other ways. This exact Sheik model created for this game actually went on to be used in Super Smash Bros. Thank you all so much for watching our videos. We have a few giveaways coming up soon as a way to thank those of you who have subscribed and commented. And those of you who have purchased a shirt or have supported us on Patreon are the reasons we are able to continue making videos like this. Please, don't worry if you can't become a Patreon supporter. Only do it if you can afford to. As for shirts, we will be giving some away as part of the giveaway, along with Nintendo eShop cards. The next giveaway will be at 105,000 subscribers, so almost there. We used to be sent a lot of fan art and custom designs that we would feature on videos, and we're going to bring that back. So if you have any Hylian Games Cast, Capt Bergerson, 𝐓𝐿𝐼𝐼, The Geek Apprentice, or Game Over Jesse artwork or designs that you would like to have shown off, send them to us on Twitter or Instagram, and we will promote it and you at the end of each of our videos. That's it for now. I hope you're all doing well, and have a great day.